Welcome back into the film room, guys. I'm your host, Erik Turner. I want to do a quick breakdown on a few concepts or plays or game strategy that we're going to see in the Bills versus Steelers. Specifically, we're going to start off with the tight ends for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And why are we doing that? That's because the Bills last season were very susceptible to tight end passes, receptions, and teams wanting to attack the Bills with their tight ends. If you look at some of these stats courtesy of SIS and Max, our data analyst, you'll see that the blue dots are the actual tight end targets by opposing offenses in 2020. And then the gray dot is the average for that position on those teams. And you can see basically every game, the blue dot is higher than the gray dot. And it's something we saw even in the playoffs. You see the teams they played in the playoffs and even towards the end of the year, the Dolphins, the Colts, the Ravens, and the Chiefs all had solid tight ends. So they decided to attack the Bills defense with those tight ends in the playoffs and just, again, throughout the entire year. And I think while the Steelers may have a pair of tight ends in Eric Ebron and Pat Freiermuth, who are really good threats in the receiving game, but really not much of a threat or impact players in the running game, I could see the Steelers trying to attack the Bills offense with multiple tight end sets with both those guys on the field, but even in their 11 personnel sets, trying to use their athleticism and size up over the middle of the field, especially off of play action. So here's a look at Ebron's numbers last year to kind of give you an idea how the Steelers attack defenses. And I know Matt Canada's taken over as offense coordinator, but again, a coach is going to want to maximize their players. And so Ebron's still there. They added Freiermuth, as I said before. They're still going to want to attack in the red zone with their big tight ends. And you can see 21% of Ebron's targets were in the red zone last year, which is a really high number. Even you see Dawson Knox is even up there, and the recently released Jacob Hollister. So, using those quick, athletic, big guys in the red zone is commonplace in the NFL. And I can see Matt Canada with his multiple tight end sets kind of condensing the formations and using those big guys, those basketball players in the short to intermediate area that Ben Roethlisberger loves to throw to. So that's just one area where Ebron is utilized. But take a look at some of these other numbers when you talk about, using Ebron in the red zone and using his size and maximizing his size. So here's red zone target share change courtesy of SIS. Look at Ebron's numbers. His percentage is plus 10.3% for target share in the red zone. So again, once the ball was put into the red zone inside the 20-yard line of the opponents of the Steelers, they like to go to Eric Ebron. I mean, he, again, is a mismatch. So he's a mismatch in many areas of the field. He's a mismatch versus linebackers. He can be a mismatch versus safeties at times. And I think the Steelers will try to get Ebron and Freiermuth matched up versus the linebackers, whether it's Milano or Edmonds, or even one of the safeties in the red zone. You can almost guarantee they're going to take a couple of those shots. Again, the Bills were very vulnerable last year against tight ends. Now that we have that set up, let's go ahead and jump into the film. All right, guys, this is from the matchup against the Lions. Again, Freiermuth in the offline tight end position, but look at the formation. You got a stack set to the bottom of the screen. You have a condensed, nasty alignment by the wide receiver, but he's up on the line of scrimmage. But watch the movement by Freiermuth on this touchdown. Watch not only the range, his ability to get downfield, but his high point ability in the red zone. Now, one thing the Bills love to do when these guys come through the line of scrimmage into the secondary area is get their bodies on him, get their hands on him, redirect them outside, make them work outside, especially when they're running these in-breaking routes to the middle of the field. Well, watch Freiermuth avoid that contact right there. Nice little swim move inside, gets a nice release, and I mean, the athleticism to do that. I mean, look at it. It's very nice, very smooth. Then he gets to the top of the route, matchup versus a safety, and that safety kind of widen out on the snap to match up versus Freiermuth. So now he's got to work back over the top and collide with him at the top of the route. But look at the movement by Freiermuth. Snaps his head around, ball's there on the back shoulder, high point catch for the touchdown. He only had a few catches in the preseason, but I mean, they were both very nice, as you're going to see here. So here he is to the left side of the screen. Again, working through this second level right here. Look at him avoid contact right there, kind of set the linebacker up outside so he can get a clean release inside. And then the throw right here is a little late, but look at the high point ability. That's going to be an issue regardless of who's on him. If this is Tremaine Edmonds having to carry a tight end into that intermediate area, his head's not going to be around. It's probably going to be on the man. Maybe he doesn't see that ball coming in hot like that. If it's a safety, the tight ends for the Steelers are big guys. There's a good chance that they could body up Kaiir and Hyde. So this is the area that I think the Steelers may look to attack above the rim against the Bills linebackers and safeties. Here's a second touchdown by Freiermuth. He is in the slot to the bottom of the screen. He's the number 3. But you see it's an empty set, so it's a 3-by-2. So to the top of the screen, there are 2 targets, and the Lions are going to play a common coverage that the Bills do. It's just a 3-over-2 here. They're going to work together to cover the 2 receivers to the top. Same thing to the bottom of the screen. There's 3 receivers right here, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4-over-3. Now keep an eye on that safety that is to the half side of the field right here. Keep an eye on him, what he does post-snap. As you see the jerk route by Freiermuth for the touchdown. So again, you're getting outside release right here, and you can see Freiermuth using his eyes, getting his eyes on that safety. Watch him widen him right there, and then back to the middle of the field. The throw is great on the back shoulder, in between the coverage. Safety is out of position. The linebacker is playing underneath and playing the man, but the throw is so hot and perfectly placed from Roethlisberger that it's a touchdown. Just a really nice route by Freiermuth, and a guy beating really bracketed coverage. The Lions tried preventing this play. They had the numbers advantage. They had a decent leverage advantage, but the route by Freiermuth, and then in the end, the athleticism is what won this play. I mean, just a great catch on the back shoulder. Look at the body control from him. Just phenomenal stuff. Again, this is how the Steelers are going to attack the Bills. Maybe even from the 20 to the 20, but I definitely expect it in the red zone. Second key to this game, Najee Harris. Obviously, the Steelers invested a lot in the productive running back. He's a beast, and he had some ups and downs as far as running the ball in the preseason, but he's a weapon, and they're going to use him. Here's just an example of Harris's vision, his patience, and how he can set up blocks. Watch the little insert from the tight end, Ebron, right here on the right side of the screen. It's kind of just like an isolation or lead play here out of shotgun. Watch him set up these linebackers and these blocks right here. So now he's pressing the line of scrimmage, getting downhill, setting up this block, and then plants, and now he's off to the races to the right-hand side. So now he's going to try to set up the linebacker number 51. You see that linebacker trying to work over the top here as that combination block is unfolding. Combination block right here on McNeil, the rookie defensive tackle. Then watch them work to the linebacker, but watch how Harris sets up that block immediately after making that first cut. So now he's pressing the gap to really set up the block for his center, Kendrick Green. And then right there, it's set up. He's by McNeil, and he's out the front door right there. And then, of course, being that big, he knows how to finish, and he does right there. And he finishes on the Detroit Lions defenders here. Just a really good play from the Steelers and Matt Canada. And Harris really just pressing the line of scrimmage, showing off his patience, and showing off that he can finish on these inside type runs. Here's Harris in the backfield in a 3-by-1 set, just running an option route. You see him run a really nice route to the middle of the field. And, you know, these are the type of plays that just are really an extension of the run game, getting the ball to your playmakers. And you see the linebacker has to work over the top of traffic right here. So because of that tight alignment, basically a quasi tight end alignment right here, just split out just a little bit so that the defender has to work over the top of him right there. And so you see that linebacker square him up, and you see Harris go to the middle of the field and then catch the ball. And again, that's what, 5 or 6 yards on an easy option route from Harris. They're going to try to get him the ball in the run game. They're going to try to get him the ball in the passing game. And these are the type of plays you're going to see from him, whether he's in the backfield or split out. You're going to see them try to run option routes with Harris. He is that talented. And again, if you get him matched up with a linebacker, he can break that first tackle. I mean, he's the kind of guy that can get off to the races and put some points on the board. And you can see them here in an empty set with him to the top of the screen, basically running an under route here, and they use him as a decoy. I mean, why not? If you're going to key on him, use him as a decoy. You see him running the crossing route. He gets the safety to come down into the hole right there. So he's helping that linebacker. That safety is helping the linebacker that is matched up in man coverage versus Harris. Well, that leaves the wide receiver to the top of the screen, one-on-one, another stick to the post right there. And it's a little underthrown, but the receiver hauls it in from Ben Roethlisberger. So just one of the ways that the Steelers are going to try to get the ball to their other playmakers via the decoy in Najee Harris. So here's a little play-action pass from Roethlisberger here. This is something the Steelers want to improve on. They've been one of the worst play-action teams the last few years. Ben's more of a drop-back type passer, wants to get the ball out quick. But you see the play-action here out of 12 personnel. And they're running just a wave concept. So sending crossers this way, and then they're sending a deep post. It's really a shot play. But you can see they have the defenders back to kind of cover this up, minimize the shot play right outside the 40-yard line. But that's okay, because now they have a weapon that when that shot call's not open, they have a guy that can check release into the underneath area in Najee Harris, and he can do some damage with the ball in his hand. You see him stiff arm, and then he has the speed to get the corner and up the sideline. He's going to make a big difference for Matt Canada and the Steelers offense. In the run game, in the passing game, I mean, they're going to force feed him the ball in the running game. They're going to probably try to get the Bills to stack that box, get a lot of those single high type looks, so that then they can get some those shot calls down the field and shot plays when they want to push it down the field. Get those opportunities for Ben Roethlisberger, those easy looks. But if those easy shot calls and looks down the field aren't there, I mean, it's too easy. You dump it down to a guy like Harris and have him do the work for the offense. He's the type of workhorse that the Steelers wanted, and he shows some of that preseason. I can only imagine what Matt Canada has cooked up for him as the season progresses. Thanks for tuning into this episode of The Film Room, where we broke down 2 areas I think that the Steelers could attack the Bills' defense, specifically with their tight ends, Pat Freiermuth, Eric Ebron, and then, of course, Najee Harris. The Steelers really invested a lot in that running back, and I think they're going to ride him a lot, and they're going to use him to also set up other players in their offense and kind of be a decoy. So a lot of the offense, I think, is going to run through them, and if the Steelers want to get a lot more explosive plays with Ben Roethlisberger and those receivers, I think Najee Harris is going to be at the center of a lot of those explosive plays. And Matt Canada, he's now the offensive coordinator for the Steelers. I think you're going to see a lot of pre-snap motion, a lot of shifting, a lot of changing of the passing strengths, forcing the linebackers and safeties to have to not only change their alignments and formations and defensive fronts, but also have to be disciplined post-snap. That's really Matt Canada's MO. He's always done that. He's always tested guys pre and post-snap, even if it's just a run. I mean, just simple shifts, changing of formations, changing of strengths has really been his MO. So I could see Matt Canada throwing a lot at Tremaine Edmonds, Matt Milano, and the Bills defense in week 1. So again, thanks for tuning in. We couldn't do this without you, and we'll see you next week in the Film Room.